And a great big hey howdy hey to all my goofy goobers. Welcome back to Animanic with Auzi.
I'm the yes. Good day, mates.
Yes, and tonight we're going to be doing a commentary on the Disney classic. We are finally into the Renaissance, and we're going to be talking about The Rescuers Down Under. No, I didn't skip anything. Shut up. So, honey, what are your ideas of this movie? What is, like, your impression of this film?
Well, you know how I said that my parents had, like, every Disney animated VHS tape?
Yeah.
This was, like, one of the few exceptions.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess they just weren't into it. We did get the DVD eventually, but we did not have it on VHS. If we wanted to see it, we had to get it from Blockbuster. I don't know. I think, like, my earliest memory of watching this movie was in German class, so it was in German.
Oh. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. So, while this being, like, our first Disney sequel, and
the first
also
Disney sequel in the official
Disney
lineup.
Disney animated sequel.
Yeah. The first official sequel in the lineup of animated films, like, theatrically.
Yes, and, yeah, well, they didn't do, like, any other Disney sequels before this one.
Yeah, not yet. I guess that was more of a 90s thing. 90s, early 90s 2000s.
And 2000s thing. Yes, and for the longest time, the only one from Disney Animation Studios that was theatrically released internationally, and like just in some places.
Right.
For a while, anyway, up until
I think Return to Neverland got a wide theatrical release, because I think I remember seeing it in theaters.
It's not included. Yes, but it's not included in the Disney animated feature
lineup.
No,
because it wasn't made by Walt Disney Animation Studios. It was made by Toon Disney, much like the
which is why Bambi 2 was released overseas. I remember seeing it in theaters because I was living overseas, but I don't think we would get another one of these in the official lineup until, correct me if I'm wrong, Wreck-It Ralph?
Wreck-It Ralph?
Unless you want to count Winnie the Pooh as a sequel.
Winnie the Pooh, like, is technically in the sequel in the fact that it's the same characters in the same universe telling a different story. But, like, we've had several Winnie the Pooh sequels before this. Most of them by Toon Disney, but, like...
I'm talking about the 2011 one.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Winnie the Pooh definitely feels like it fits in the lineup, more so with Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, because a lot of the other sequels, like Tigger Movie and the Heffalump Movie, all did like an offshoot.
Okay, anyway,
kind of like a separate
in regards
timeline.
To the movie itself, it's not my favorite. I mean, animation-wise, it's beautiful, but story-wise, I've always had a problem with it. Because while the first Rescuers definitely felt like it was about Bernard and Bianca, it feels like that they're just secondary characters.
Yeah, I
see what I mean.
I think I agree, because when I first watched this movie, there was something that felt off about the ending, and it kind of got me thinking, like, this is an underrated movie? Honestly, I don't get it. I mean, it's more cinematic, to be sure, but I think after having watched The Rescuers very recently, and then, you know, recalling my memories of this film, I like The Rescuers better, but we'll have to see if that opinion changes tonight. And if anyone's curious, on Disney Plus, it does have the classic 90s logo, so we can all sync up at the front this time. So everybody get your copy of Rescuers Down Under ready, because we're gonna get it started very soon. And while I say that, this is the first of every film in Disney's lineup to use the CAPS, otherwise known as the Computer Animation Production System, which was utilized
for the entire movie.
For the entire movie, in order to produce the inks and paints of the characters in lieu of celluloid. It definitely probably sped up production by, like, a lot, though it probably also slowed down production by just as much, because this is the first time they're using it. So they're still getting accustomed. And the first time
that they did all the coloring via computer.
Right, like, I think the only instance where we could see, like, again, like, in The Great Mouse Detective, they were hand inking the CGI gears, whereas in Oliver and Company, they went to Xeroxing the line art from CGI directly onto cells. You could tell because there's no boiling lines. And in this movie, it's all integrated. It's all in the computer now. with the
this movie
with the
was
animation being done on
essentially
paper.
this movie was essentially Disney's experiment.
Yeah.
It was an experiment.
And funny enough, heads at Pixar, including He Who Must Not Be Named, were responsible for creating Caps in the first place. And heck, like if you ever watch the behind,
I have an idea of who you mean by He Who Must Not Be Named, but honestly, there were a lot of those at the time, so I'm not sure which He Who Must Not Be Named you mean.
Pixar's Johnny McTouch.
Okay, I'm checking. There were a lot on both ends.
Very unfortunately. But yeah, no. I'd definitely say like if you've ever seen the behind the scenes DVD stuff for like the Lion King 1.5, and you see like Timon being colored in, that's Caps. That's how late they were still using this stuff up until like. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that, because they're going to be using Caps all the way up through Home on the Range, so we're going to be seeing Caps coloring and inking process for a while. But now that we've all given ample time for you all to sync up the correct movie, because what the hell is this Little Mermaid shit? I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to go ahead and start the movie right now in 3, 2, oh, hang on, I need to do it like this. 3, 2, 1, go. I need VLC to sync properly.
Yeah.
I got the sound on now.
Okay. Also, fun fact: didn't they make this like within a year?
Katzenberg was cracking the whip. There have been like in the Renaissance, there was a movie every single year, so probably very likely.
Yes, but I think this one, was within a full. This was made within a year.
And with this
very
movie,
short production time.
And with this movie, the disappearance of my favorite aspect in many animated films, no more celluloid drop shadow. Because everything's being done in computers, so there's no physical animated character on top of a flat background asset. It's all on the computer, so there's no celluloid
But they
drop
still
shadow.
they still kind of give the ink and paint feel in some places.
Well, that's because Caps was a system designed to kind of mirror the imagery of, in association with Silver Screen Partners. Did Disney eventually buy them? I think Disney eventually bought them. That's 90s
was pretty much when
so you see
the 90s
this?
was when 2D animation was at its peak.
This is the flex. Bob Newhart, Eva Gabor, John Candy, God rest his soul. God, everyone who plays an albatross is doomed. Death flag.
Yes. Joe Ranft on this.
But you saw that back there.
Was this
with
his
the rocks.
last? Is this one of his last films? I
John
believe?
Candy?
Yeah.
Wasn't it also his first and only animated appearance?
Because I think he died in 1993, 94?
Yeah. This is his only animated film, I think. I could be wrong about that. But yeah,
this is 1990. So this is Home Alone. Maybe?
That whole thing where we're going across the Australian plains there with the trees and then the rocks, that is a flex. You're familiar with the multiplane camera. Well, this is all done on the computer. Here's the multiplane camera on steroids. Also, I'm pretty
mom
sure
just let him run out into the wilderness.
Also, I'm pretty sure there
with
was,
the highest number of poisonous animals in the world.
Also, I want to point out between these two and the jumping mouse later, and of course the villain, all Australian accents in this movie, whether they're real or not is up for debate, but real. Yeah. He was gonna be talking turkey in Pocahontas, but scrapped due to his death in '94. So
I think a talking turkey would have been way too campy. Well, we'll talk about that when we get there.
When we get there. Oh, is that an echidna?
Well, echidna.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it was echidna. It's Knuckles.
Yep.
Okay, but seriously though, how is it his mom has an Australian accent, but he doesn't?
He had a little bit of Australian accent earlier. I got
it looked like he was trying to sound Australian, but failed.
And then maybe the actor just stopped trying.
See?
She kind of just sounds normal British.
I'm getting some lag on my end. It might just be because my computer's still in start mode.
Poop.
I don't need a Discord update right now. I'm on Discord.
And also, that reflection on the water is easier to do simply because they're doing this in computers. Again, they're kind of just doing the flex on, like, oh, you're familiar with how animation in a Disney movie looks. Another thing is that colored line art is easier to do in the computer, so they basically just did it all the time. Final film for Eva Gabor. Oh, God rest her soul.
Yeah, it was because of her death that The Rescuers 3 was scrapped.
Damn, to think they would have done a third Rescuers.
Yeah, and
now that's
also the
just
Rescuers
beautiful
spin-off was
with the
scrapped
hair.
and then reworked into Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Makes a lot of sense. What's one of those instances where the colored, like, irises? Yeah. The colored irises actually work really well because of the way they're able to get the nuance in computer coloring. Oh, yeah. Definitely Glen Keane on the eagle.
I just remember Eagle was always a memorable animation.
Can you really blame
Yes,
the bird?
let's have all these cartoony animals, but then make the eagle as realistic as possible.
The thing is, it works with the human characters. Like, you see, like, Wendy Darling and Peter Pan up next to Smee and Hook, and that works. So it doesn't really change whether you do it with humans or animals. God, now I will admit, this is one hell of a way to open up your movie. Oh, the animation on the tear there. You're gonna wonder, did the character animator, like, plan that and do that themselves, or was that an effects animator just going off on that? Because I think that's a character animation thing, but water is also an effects animation thing, so it's always interesting to try to suss out, like, what details are what. And again, here we are flexing on the multiplane camera. You want 4 planes? We've got 7.
That's what I mean. This whole movie was one big experiment. Just into the Renaissance. Like, this is how we're going to do the rest of our movies.
Inspired by Miyazaki. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't be too surprised. This does feel very Miyazaki-esque. Okay, now that's just classic animation goodness where they just draw.
Because by now we would have had a couple of the flying movies from Miyazaki, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. I still want to see Porco Rosso. Now, this is looking a lot like Hercules, but I don't think that's this movie's fault.
Porco Rosso, I think, was later, but yeah.
This score is kind of cute and adorable at this moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into my story problems here.
So off we
this is a cool way to open it up.
Look at the shadow that they're drawing to fit the clouds. That's probably like a different animator's department completely. Like, the character animator isn't necessarily responsible for that. That's like... Actually, they probably would be. Like, character animators would know how to draw the shadow of their character's form in a 3-dimensional... Okay, now this is a shot that was used in a lot of ads, like right there. It didn't even necessarily need to be ads for this movie specifically. It was just like, Disney, where the magic begins, kind of thing, you know? Like that kind of tag you get before this Disney DVD is enhanced with Disney's Fast Play. Oh God, the water.
Yeah.
The waterfall. That's so pretty.
Yeah, my issue with this is, like, it's like a whole 10 minutes or so before we get our main characters.
That's true. At least with, like, the original Rescuers, we got a moment with Penny and the ship in a bottle thing, like, message in a bottle thing.
But then, like, there was some mystery solving there and figure out, like, how'd she get there and all that.
Yeah.
There was a mystery solving element there. There's not a lot of mystery solving in here.
That's true, because we already
Kinda just
know what the
dragged
mystery
around.
is. The thing is, I'm gonna point something out here, like, with that. It's like, Oh god, that's adorable.
I do like that shot.
Thank you, Glenn Keane, for making the most adorable giant golden eagle in any Disney animated film ever. I know that's a highly specific thing.
He
but,
always makes like these big fluffy hunched characters, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Aww.
They'll be fluffy when we're... Oh. Yeah, the actor is definitely not Australian. He's just doing it on and off.
Yes.
God.
I probably...
Here's the problem, right? Because, like,
How hard is it to find an Australian kid, though?
You'd think it wouldn't be that hard.
Especially if they actually went to Australia, right?
Yeah, they did go to Australia. Like, they went for the research trip and to get the rockwork looking correct. I mean, I only know by photographs.
I guess it would be easier nowadays, but I don't know.
I mean, they weren't as culturally sensitive at this time as they were with something like Moana, where they were like, okay, we have to get the actress right, you know? They were like, oh, let's just get any white boy and then have him do his best Australian accent, and then he's just not doing it half the time. And then they're like, fuck it, we gotta release the movie. Katzenberg's gonna be very unhappy if we don't release this movie.
Maybe he spent some time in America or something. Because I actually knew this Australian girl who always sounded American. It's because we went to an American school, and she sounded more like her friends than her parents. But we're actually in Australia, so I'm trying to figure out how that works.
Maybe he and his mother took trips to Disneyland or something.
But you don't sound like... I mean, I don't sound Romanian, because... Or I don't sound French because I spent like a week there.
Nah, that's fair.
Him, I can understand if he was like born in America and then decided Australia's where all the game is, but...
Yeah. Love the name, though. Percival McLeach. That's such a good name.
What's his first name?
Percival.
Never knew that.
Percival McLeach. Well, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, not McLean, McLeach, scribe.
Cleach.
Yeah, McLeach. It's very on the nose.
I'll say, as a follow-up to Madame Medusa, he's a pretty good villain for this kind of...
Oh, yeah, and he definitely has a different energy, but still pretty manic. And that is an entirely CGI truck right there. All the details, like the suspension spring and the cages, it's like... You would not animate that by hand without having a headache.
It's also like the Cruella de Vil type villain in Disney. Doesn't have any supernatural powers. Is someone you could possibly meet in real life, and has also like got this element of crazy.
Yep. He's got an accent. It's not necessarily Australian, but...
That's why I think he might have started down south first. But
yep.
I do kind of love how at first he's like, "Yeah, let's get this kid out of here," but that gun would not reach down there. That's a big animation error. I'm sorry.
That is not an error.
There's no way that gun would have reached from that height.
That's not an error.
There's an error.
There's
an error. I'm gonna fight you for it.
This isn't like a continuity flub. It's just like... It's one of those animation tricks. Well, see, the gun's reaching out of the hole right now.
Now see, McLeach at first he's like... You know, I'm just going to get this boy out of here, and he's not going to cause trouble, but then...
Joanna has found something. He even gives her the credit, which is very appreciated.
Yeah. And this is where it changes.
That would be where I heard that voice elsewhere, Scribe. So here's the fact that
they make it a lot more worn.
Well, now they can't let him go. Here's the thing, like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's...
Kind of goes off even further off the deep end here. Goes from just poaching animals, like, not caring about the kids, but then...
Even compared to our movie 2 weeks ago, this, like, gives away the mystery, as opposed to, like, letting it build. But, like, where would you put that eagle scene except for the front of the movie?
This guy's just...
He's rotten. He wasn't gonna
even
pay...
more diabolical than
he really
Medusa.
wasn't. Yeah, he really wasn't gonna pay the boy any mind until Joanna found the feather. It was like...
At least Medusa tried to pretend to be nice to Penny when she was kidnapping her, but...
That's the thing, though. McLeach doesn't have a point in hiding it, especially when the boy is already so against him, like, just outset.
Yeah, I guess we got
like
this
Penny
built
was
to
Penny was
but...
likely happy to be adopted. We don't rightly know immediately because of it being shrouded in mystery. Okay, definitely using a 3D on the globe here.
Yeah, guys, this is before we had direct email. and then
Telegram.
text messaging.
It's definitely very effective.
I think emails were in development, but they weren't used as frequently.
The internet in the 90s meant you had to be, like, a genius to use it because it wasn't...
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have the fancy
you had that
user
limited
interface that we have nowadays.
Yeah, and you paid internet by the minute.
Ras.
Parents always gave me limited time on, like, nickjr.com and all that. Because it cost money.
The whole dealio with this whole shtick here.
I guess I get the setup, but
it does push this to being a grander scale, but again, I don't necessarily think that attention boy kidnapped in Australia. Immediate action required. And you know what? Like, it doesn't necessarily serve to there they go. And the thing is, like, just because
wait, how do they even know where in Australia they're going? Australia's huge.
Well, that's why they have the guide, obviously. But, like, because the guide is gonna know things from the other mice and animals in Australia.
I know. But
and these buildings look like they stepped out of the Spider-Man cartoon.
Of the continent. It's huge.
Those buildings look like they stepped out of that Spider-Man cartoon.
I love how they have these little watches and then all the... And these people again, even the same characters here.
That's nice continuity. Heck, they even redid the background arts exactly to what they were before, so that's nice. And even the whole...
I saw the Ukrainian flag. Amazing that Bernard Fox was still... Oh boy.
Oh boy. We'll get to that one later.
Ethiopia.
It looks like he's grown a bit of a mustache since the last time we saw him.
Yeah, Bernard got a promotion to USA delegate. Why is it always going to be them? That's what I gotta know. You got like 50 other mice there.
I think it's because the other agents are local, but these two have already done 2 trips, like, that we know of.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of froze up on me for a second.
I'm not sure if this whole bit was necessary, but okay.
It's cute. Gives us I mean, what do we need in terms of world building? We already know the Rescue Society, but I guess it does contextualize one big subplot. I was like, why else would they be out on this date?
On top of a chandelier.
On top of a chandelier
That's
in the fanciest
cute.
restaurant in New York. Actually, can we say what? Can Can we say, like, what restaurant this is based on the chandeliers? We probably could. What restaurant would this be?
No, it's in New York. Like, what, the Ritz or,
Ooh, could be the Ritz, actually. That's just me spitballing. That's just us spitballing. They are adorable.
Yeah, they've added more blush into Bianca's. And Bernard's got more whites in his eyes.
Yeah, I think they...
Well,
I think
they both
went
got more
ahead-
whites in their eyes.
I think they both decided... I think they finally decided to adopt, like, the full whites in the eyes, just to have some consistency. But honestly, I prefer the other way their eyes were drawn, and it wouldn't be out of place, because that's what the characters look like.
And this is the first time we get a whole proposal subplot in Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, well, aside, you know what I mean? Like, it's pre-established couple, and one of them just trying to propose this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we got Kristoff
I think
trying to propose to Anna.
I think that was Glenn Keane animating that cricket character, that little bug character.
Of this part.
Oh, come
You know, I
on.
never quite understood this part until I was an adult. That poor guy.
Not on the first date, I guess.
I didn't quite get the, oh, she thought he was trying to play footsie.
But not on the first date. I'll see right there. His eyes were actually colored the color of his fur for a second.
And this is why communication is important.
Whoops.
This, okay. Promise me we won't have conversations like this ever.
No.
I will if ever I don't know what you're talking about, I'll try to clarify if, which you actually never bring. They did kind of make this look bigger and add all those flags.
Yep. It's still the same Rescue Aid Society room that we're familiar with.
He really thinks they're. He really thought
he always
that she was
stumbles
announcing
into
their
this.
engagement. He's like, right.
Yep.
Poor Bernard.
You can see the look in his face. It's like, I mean, not that I wouldn't have,
Bernard-
but I really misread the situation.
Bernard walked so Kristoff could run. Bernard walked so Kristoff could run.
I suppose.
It still had this dynamic. Yeah, they still act like a married couple already.
No, not safe for work photos in the sequel.
Come on, Bianca. You know that. Come on, Bianca. Yeah, because get it, Orville, Wilbur. Of course, he'd be in a
and
hangar
Wilbur.
that's more durable in the snow than a little shack.
Very appropriate.
Yeah, when I was little,
now
I
the-
didn't understand that this was a different word.
God bless you, John Candy.
Is this like, when was Home Alone? Was it like this, also 1990? I can't remember.
It was somewhere around the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, 1990. So it was the same year as Home Alone, which also had John Candy.
Yep. Here's John Candy with rock and roll. There's John Candy with polka.
Yeah, my favorite John Candy was Uncle Buck. Like that. That's an underrated movie.
I don't think Bernard should be concerned. Barf has a lot of experience piloting ships. Thank you. I'll be here all week. I think this
Bernard,
definitely...
don't be jealous. He's a giant bird. He's just being polite.
I think this would have been the inspiration for bringing in, what's his name, into Scuttle. Like, what was his name? Well, no, I guess... No, those were movies were being worked on at the same time. What was his name?
Within a year, though.
Yeah, they did do it within a year.
You know, it just occurred to me. You know, thinking of how Rescue Rangers came from this scrapped spinoff,
Yeah.
and then we have we had an Australian character added there. So I wonder if
Wait a minute. That if some of those characters were from the original concept?
Yeah. Maybe they were planning to bring that guy. I completely forgot his name. You know who I mean.
Bob Newhart?
Guide. Yeah.
Oh, the guide. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what if Gadget would have been Miss Bianca instead?
Poppins. Poppins reference.
Yep.
Aw.
Tug at the heartstrings here.
Look, Germany poster.
First male villain in this era. You're not wrong. Because, I mean, The Little Mermaid had Ursula, so this has McLeach, so yeah. And kind of back and forth a little bit there. Well, no, because then the next one's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, you could hear the improv bits here.
Yeah. I mean, you don't get a comedic actor like him and not have him do improv.
And this was before we got Robin Williams in the picture.
Yep. But I mean, we did have, like, what's his name? He was also in the Herbie the Love Bug. What's his name?
Buddy Hackett?
Buddy Hackett, yeah, that's right.
We're talking about the actor for Scuttle. I didn't realize that's who you're
yeah.
Like, I heard you say Scuttle.
I mean, as far as, like...
Yeah, Buddy Hackett, I think so, maybe.
Also, God rest his soul. But, like, comic actors playing silly birds. Oh, and then we have
Buddy
Gilbert
Hackett
Gottfried
at
in
least
Aladdin.
Buddy Hackett at least survived long enough to reprise his role in the sequel.
That's true. Wasn't that also true for Samuel E.
Oh,
Wright?
look, it's just kind of like these reworked shots from the original. I love that.
And here we go.
Yeah.
Again, this does really look like that 90s Spider-Man cartoon, doesn't it?
That was definitely.
I do like that. I do like that line though. That's funny. Here's the giant thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of work. There was no simulation for CGI in this era, so they basically had to animate that frame by frame for that thing. Or at the very least, they had to like animate the key poses for its like clattery.
Oh my god, he almost fell into that bear trap there.
I think they're all closed, but yeah, that's not fun, having the kid in the back with a fucking bunch of toothy traps.
Oh man, it's cool.
Love how they painted his eyes a little pink. The other Disney villain I can think of whose eyes are painted a slight shade of pink is Dr. Doofenshmirtz, oddly enough.
No, Hades has yellow eyes, right?
Yeah, his eyes were like, not even like slightly, they were like just shot yellow. Oh god. This is fucking hard.
This is what happens when you let your boy run out in the wilderness all by himself. I'm sorry. That's what's on you, lady.
Well, he was right about making connections with a bigger bird. That was pretty smart. Also, yeah. Also, we're gonna see a little.
So cute.
We're gonna see a similar technique. Yeah, George C. Scott is having a lot of fun. That is adorable. We will see no shortage of coloring errors, though, like with Bianca's right ear a second ago.
Ouch.
There'll be no shortage of coloring errors.
Hey, you were sleeping on two mice!
Also, I want to point out that what we're gonna see here is the equivalent of that rotoscoping trick that was used in the first movie.
We're in Sydney.
Is that we're gonna see like a CGI Wilbur from a distance. At least I thought so.
Yeah, see what I mean? How did you know where to go specifically? We can't take the train to Australia, though, Barnard. I'm sorry. Let's take a boat.
Well, I think because they could actually trace the message back to its origin. That's probably why.
Okay, all right.
Like, there's at least that. We'll get them close enough to the kidnapping site. Sorry, little bug, but you're no even, Rude. You are good at checkers, though.
It reminds me of a moment from the My Little Pony movie. The very first one, of course. where like that little troll guy is playing with a rabbit, and the rabbit just kind of does this whole checker move on like 3 different levels.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Shit.
What's the male version of a Karen?
Chat, I think there is a male version of Karen. What's it called? I'm just kind of stumbling.
I want to say Kevin, but then no, that Kevin's a stupid
Keith?
guy.
Good Lord.
Of
There
course.
you go. Woof. Whoa,
Ouch.
God.
I flung him so far back. Well, she ain't a Yank. She's Hungarian.
Pretty lady's a pretty lady. Right there with you, Fly.
I felt like his name was Jake. I wasn't sure. I never quite understood how Bianca... Like, can't you see he's getting flirty here?
Yeah.
Maybe she thought he was just being a gentleman. I don't know.
Poor bird.
Now, this is a scene that made me terrified of doctors.
I mean, it plays into that stereotype, for one.
Those nurse mice are scary.
Oh, God.
It's definitely more on the British side, but that kind of makes sense.
They are in Australia. That's where the Australian accent originated. CGI on the crane lift there.
Seriously. Okay, there's being stern, and then there's just being kind of sadistic. See what I mean? Like, why are they making this so terrifying? Also, you're acting like a Karen, Wilbur. At the same time, you guys are acting really weird.
Apply the anesthetic.
Your bedside manner could use improvement, Doctor.
Definitely.
We're still together, Bob! Well, they're not married, but Bianca, you could have established that you guys are together, right?
Oh, God.
I mean, Australia's got the largest number of poisonous animals in the world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
There's no words, literally.
You know, he's not...
He's really not folding that map correctly.
Yeah, but you'll also point out he's not entirely wrong. A wilderness like this, not necessarily... A map's not gonna get you far.
But look at... Yeah, he really wasn't folding that correctly.
Oh, God.
You know, like, that really... He wasn't following the folds at all. Ooh. Fine squirrel.
Yep.
How does he always end up on the back?
Yeah.
Oh man, and
with the
they
flying
even
squirrel,
copied
it's
the
gonna
move
be
that
pretty.
he did.
Yep.
That was the same move that Bernard did in the
Yep.
first movie, too.
Yep. Just...
Seriously, Bianca, I never understand this. Like when someone's getting clearly flirtatious, but the flirtee doesn't realize it, and then wondering why their partner is jealous. Like, hello! Like, oh, I trust you. I don't trust that guy.
I mean, we're definitely running into the cultural barriers. Not only is this guy Australian, but she's Hungarian, so she may just think she's being polite.
True.
Woof.
Oh, that's Satan's Ridge and such. And this is just ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Medusa was trigger happy. This guy's knife happy.
Yeah. And he also uses guns, too.
This is like a Silence of the Lambs style villain here. Jeez.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, without the cannibalism.
I mean,
it's
I get why
just
they
so,
would...
like,
I
ugh.
mean, I get why Disney might censor this scene, but, like, that's no fair. You take a movie as
what
it
did they
is.
censor?
No, they censored this scene on Disney Channel airings, evidently.
For what?
Probably the knife.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of freaky, but no one get.
That's the thing, though. It's like, it is scary. That's the... Aw.
He just loves what I love the way he looks at her. It's like,
Yeah, like
Like,
she's
he's
the
just
most
amazed
beautiful woman
at
in the
everything.
world.
you know,
I also feel bad for him because he's legit, like, nervous. Oh.
oh,
The thing is, this was warranted.
sure, I get it because he's a boa,
Nah.
I think, or an anaconda. I'm not sure.
Well, we're in Australia. What would it be in Australia?
I will say that does come back into
That does, yes. Sometimes foreshadowing is fairly obvious.
Yeah,
That's effective right there, just repeating the animation of the stripes. Really effective.
How can I compete with this macho guy?
Yeah, he really...
But Bernard,
No, he's...
you faced crocodiles. You faced a trigger-happy lady.
Yeah. Animation there was beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I really wish Bianca and Bernard would have had a conversation about this. Like, Bernard voicing his concerns. I wish that would happen.
And then we're going so back and forth. There's more screen time with these guys because we had that big opening.
That's why I feel like it's less about Bernard and Bianca and more about this kid here.
They are the rescuers. I mean, heck, even more
No, but
with Wilbur would be appropriate.
Like, I felt like Penny. There was a good enough balance between Bernard, Bianca, and Penny, especially because they worked together a lot more.
Hello, Sultan. And it looks like he's doing a better Australian accent than the boy is.
Octopus. This guy's just. This guy's just. It's like, well, we're done for. I might as well just be a dick about it.
Hey, look, a platypus.
Platypus?
Don't turn me into a marketable squad.
Who voices the koala?
The same guy as Sultan. We were talking about this like a couple of weeks ago when he was in The Great Mouse Detective, I think, right?
Was it really him? Like, it sounded like him. I wasn't sure.
I think either Scribe or Writer mentioned it. Or you mentioned it.
It does sound like him.
Yeah.
It's what, like, his third Disney role? Okay. I mean, well, this would be his second. So it's like three Disney roles, yeah.
Yep. And after they got David Ogden Stiers in their movies, they just couldn't get enough of him.
David Ogden Stiers is pretty awesome.
He is.
Was pretty awesome. Jeez!
I don't
so sad.
You know, I don't blame you, Blueheart, for finding Frank annoying. But at least his voice doesn't sound like he's constantly has something in his throat like Gurgi. It's like, I think people would find Frank annoying in a similar way people would find SpongeBob annoying. Just that it's nasally and high-pitched, not necessarily that it's like a gross voice to listen to.
Blueheart saying he's not as bad as Hey Hey, but still. Oh boy.
Well, we'll get there when we get there.
Okay, so yes, Jake is the only Australian actor in this film. Okay.
Huh.
And then everyone else is either American or some kind of British.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, and not counting Eva Gabor, who's Hungarian, but yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, thank you. I was gonna say, like, we should probably cut away to our main heroes for a bit.
Ray, is that you and your relations?
It's our Australian friends, mate.
Maybe you are cousin Ray. No, I don't know. I'm not. Australian's not my best accent there.
I think you gotta mix Texas with British, and then you'll get there.
Okay, let me try it right now. Wow, okay. Yeah, never mind.
That was a little too much Texas.
Okay, well,
well,
I'm starting with Texas. Put a little bit of British into there, and a little bit of British. Okay, let me try it from the other way.
yeah.
Um, all right, then, lady, snap to it.
I
All right, then,
love
lady,
this
snap
doctor
to it,
character.
snap to it. Ugh, I can't. It's hard for me. I don't know why it's hard for me.
Some people have trouble with certain accents.
Oh, yeah, technically John Candy is Canadian, playing American, right? What?
Oh, Lord.
What the hell were you planning to do? You know, most doctors tell you what they're about to do.
Yeah.
They don't just whip out chainsaws.
Oh, boy.
Chainsaw was also censored in the Disney channels too. Like,
Why?
why? It's not
Why
like
even
it's actually
air it
used.
on Disney Channel at that point, you know? Just stop it.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. By that, you're right, Scribe. By that logic, they'll cut out that Lilo and Stitch moment where he whips out the chainsaw. Oh, good. My dog found the chainsaw. Now the mice found the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's karma.
I do like that little guy. I love his design mostly. The little flat
Look,
top
look.
head.
That animation is definitely taken from the original a little bit. It's reworked. It's like the same motions.
Yep. That's the movie. They're just trying to say, let's take the Rescuers and make it bigger. I'm not surprised, just disappointed. Disappointed by the censorship. Oh, God. God.
Well, okay, so here comes the funniest scene in the movie. And I think I once saw an edit of this scene with a laugh track, and it worked.
This is kind of a sitcom moment right here.
The way he just goes, I'm hungry.
You know, we've all been there.
I'm hungry. He really doesn't know how to handle it. Then not give it to him. He really doesn't know how to handle a kid. Not unlike Medusa.
Love this whole bit here. This is kind of like a sitcom
Does I not
moment.
see it? This part is fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's just a classic comedy bit going on here right now.
It's funny in German too.
That's because the animation is funny. Like, this is some really
It's all in one, you know, and there's no cutaway too.
There's no
It's so
cut.
great.
It's one solid shot.
Abusive towards this. By that time.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. And now his eyes are just dead up turning red. And the purple light.
Devilish.
This is pretty ingenious. Poor Frank. Oh! He did it.
Apparently the voice of McLeach is an animal lover.
That is pretty funny.
I mean, this is acting. And He did get out.
Frank. That happens a lot.
And, at least a British guy is able to sound a bit more Australian.
Easily. I mean, he's a frilled lizard. Frilled lizards are very cool looking lizards. Oh boy.
Okay.
Frank's is a few grapes short of a fruit salad.
Well, you can't help not being too strong. He's tiny guy.
Little guy. God damn it, kid. Ugh.
And when that one door is painted differently for the rest, it's gonna move.
Yep. They did a pretty decent job color matching it, but a trained eye will notice that pretty easily.
Now, anytime you got something that's painted differently from the rest of the background, it's gonna move at any moment. And case in point.
Yep. It's kind of why CGI was kind of a boon to Treasure Planet, but we'll get there. I really like that. That is...
Oh, Frank, no! Frank! A wood job! Frank?
Woof.
Smack my forehead.
Frank.
It is the last we'll ever see him in this movie. We actually never find out what happens to them.
I mean, I've got a pretty decent idea, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Just like he recommended the... Yeah, funny enough, we're not on Aladdin yet.
Not there yet.
It's just dirty. It's just plain dirty. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
Here we go. You know, that's not exactly a subtle piece of machinery. This is great animation right here.
Yeah. So I'm amazed this guy hasn't been caught with how noisy and...
That's a great line. Was that in the script, or did he make that up? Because honestly...
Like, how's this guy not been caught with how noisy and inconspicuous his... I don't know how very conspicuous
I mean, okay, now here's one of those shots that makes this movie an epic right here. And this all would have been the same animation technology that they used to make the Iron Giant the Iron Giant. So it's like, to be impressed that they're doing it with this giant machine, I'm impressed, like, the Warner Brothers, or whatever studio Warner Brothers contracted to do Iron Giant, were able to do it with like, to animate a whole character that way. Impressive.
I guess it is intense. I'm still bothered by the story problem.
Hi, Wilbur. And yet you're still flapping like a maniac. Oh, boy.
Because I feel like, how far are we into the movie, and exactly what have Bernard and Bianca done?
Not a lot. Like, in terms of rescuing this boy seems to have rescued himself, mostly. And McLeach is just using him.
Like Bernard and Bianca at least went on an investigation, trying to figure out what happened to Penny, followed everything.
Yeah, and they found Medusa at her shop in New York.
And then ran from gators.
Like, there's a whole setup and payoff with the rescuers. It's like, who's this little girl? Why is she here? And then it pays off by discovering things bit by bit. But by making this film an epic, you don't allow a mystery to build. And the thing is, that's not necessarily a problem
Penny and
either.
Bianca and Bernard work together, but how much time do the mice actually spend with Cody here?
They don't. They really, really don't.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It just...
Also...
Yeah, in terms of animation and epic shots, sure. But also, I feel like we kind of lost our character a little bit here.
And even Cody is a passive protagonist here, you want to point out. Because, like, he doesn't do much either. Like, he's kidnapped and mice have to send the message about his kidnapping. He's trapped in his cage and the frilled lizard has to do something about it. He's let go by McLeach. What did Cody do other than have that epic flyby?
Yeah, Penny, like, tried to sent those bottles, tried to escape the gators. It failed, but
she did it multiple times to the point where Medusa was fucking sick of her ship.
Then came up with the whole plan of escape.
There, that's what the Bianca and Bernard have done.
I guess, yeah, they wanted to make
they
Penny and Cody
the
different,
eagle.
but... Yeah, you're right. Cody does try to save the eagle, but...
But, like... Oh, God. Also, love this guy's skinny leg pot belly design. Just great shape. I love his shape. And then
they had a lot of fun animating this guy's
coat flapping in the wind like an evil villain's, like, cape. It's amazing.
Oh, Blue Heart's like, hate to tell you this, Wilbur, but those were male birds.
Ah, shit.
I will say, I wish they had done more with it. They do more with Bernard is growing.
I mean, like, what would Bernard and Bianca have done that Jake couldn't have done either? He did more to solve the mystery of what McLeach was up to in this exact moment. And beyond Bernard's stutter, he could have been like, kid, McLeach is up on the cliff, and it's like, what were Bianca and Bernard here for aside from like, it's a rescuers movie, so they have to be in it. In fact, if it was going to be the Rescuers Down Under, why not have the Rescue Aid Society have an Australian division and just do that? Especially if you're not going to do much with our main characters. You do wonder about that. Oh, God. Joanna not going.
Yeah, she may be crazy, but she ain't stupid, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I ain't stupid, that's deep! Yeah.
Yeah, there he... McLeach being McLeach.
Now, she sounds more like Gollum than Gurgi does.
At least she has the sense to only gurgle and not actually say anything.
Yeah. You can hear a little bit of Frank Welker's a boo in there, too.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
It's just a bit more growly.
Yep.
I do like that tail, that tongue flick.
Yep.
I love the way they do this, because it's, like, just subtle enough.
Ow. That hurt.
Like, what the heck? Huh?
Whoops. Oof.
Like, well, well, I can't eat it, but yeah.
She may not be...
And get rid of him.
She may not be stupid, but she is dumb. Like, she can't figure that those are just rocks. She could have shook one, figured out that it wasn't hollow. But nope, she just goes just drown him, smash him from a high place. It's like, no food, but what are you gonna do? Ow. And way to fucking...
See, Bernard does do a lot more towards the end. I mean, see? The eggs. Which is why I wish he would have had a conversation with me. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're the one who looks out for everybody. Despite you being scared, you're always...
You go, Wilbur.
The right thing.
You go, Bernard.
Literally the only one he cares about. He's gonna do that. Not that kind of chick.
That was a pretty comical wipe. Wilbur is not ready to be a dad. No, Squad, he's not. God.
Yeah. I'm like, that's gonna help because there's a open door, windows, and cage.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of goes further out the deep end.
God.
I don't know. Yeah, and that's why
Yeah.
she's always loved him. From the moment he got that message out of the bottle,
Yep.
like he
There are
never
13
gave up,
steps on this ladder.
even when he messed up, even when he was scared and nervous.
Yep.
Yeah, but at the same time, though,
You feel bad for the
you
poor
are
guy.
one little mouse.
We should talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. Who
Wait a
bought
minute.
that?
Oh, hi, Pumbaa.
I was about to say. I was literally about to say that. Oh, we gotta stop doing that. I'm joking. It's scary sometimes, though. Yeah.
Well.
It's like, all right.
Look at the shine on the eye that they were able to draw on.
He does learn from Jake, though.
Love it.
Yeah. You could learn. Yeah. You know,
Sometimes
it's
you
annoying
really.
as you are, Jake.
Sometimes you just go. Sometimes you're just like, oh, you're at the end of your rope, and you're like, all right, that's it. It's like, and then you're like, I wouldn't normally do this under any other circumstances, but god damn it, I gotta do. Crocodile Falls has a crocodile-shaped rock.
What is called crocodile?
What an unbelievable coincidence.
I remember when he said it in German, it's along the lines of crocodile. Ugh. It was so spooky the way he said it, too. Godila. He sings.
Seriously, what a just God, the character in general is so much fun. He is truly an underrated villain. I'll give him that. Like, he's like the star of the show. Like, if there's
Yeah, like
anyone
I said, good follow up from Madame Medusa. When we want that manic character who has no supernatural powers.
if there was a character this movie was about, it would be Percival McLeach. God, what a horrible man.
He's not even just putting him straight in.
He's teasing with him.
He's milking this.
This boy is traumatized.
And this is why villains never win. They always want to drag it out.
Did the background glitch out? I think the background glitched out for a bit.
And, you know, this villain should stop abusing their sidekicks.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, not with that attitude.
It pays to be a mouse sometimes. Excuse me, what was that?
No, you're just a mouse.
I am not a rat.
Of course not. Ah, shit.
I ain't no rat.
You might want to run, Bernard. She's been hungry the whole movie.
He's like, I really don't believe it.
Ooh, ah! Got it!
Yeah, now that you got the keys, I'm gonna run.
Shit. We're getting there. teamwork, baby. Oh.
Ouch. So it's a lot of navigating through all that cage stuff.
Oh. I hope you just do what you know.
Straight up kicks him in the nose. Kicks her in the nose.
Kicks her in the nose.
It's like, yeah, I hope I know what. And that's the difference
Then-
between courageous and stupid.
and then-
Like, he knew that was a dumb idea, but it was the only idea.
Boing. It's like the butterfly that lands on a branch and then the whole thing just breaks off.
Yeah, I'll give him that. I'll give him this. That was Bernard's
Yep.
moment.
And there you go.
Just wish there was more focus on that. That if there had been a little more of a build up to him stepping up and
Ooh boy.
comparing himself to Jake.
What am I supposed to do? He's in the water, and I'm a little mouse. I mean, if you can swim, what are you gonna do?
Okay, but
Bullshit?
there's no way.
Bullshit.
I mean, there's no way.
It's a cartoon, but I'm calling bullshit. There's a certain point where it's like...
You were able to get Bianca out of the water in the first movie, but this is a full-grown boy. It's like a 50 times your size.
I mean, there's buoyancy, and then there's what the fuck.
Oh, no, that's not why they're swimming. And what? And this.
I wonder what the C stands for.
That's your one. It's just like... And it's just like, bye-bye. Joanna doesn't even help.
This is a good one. Death by waterfall.
Another falling off a cliff death.
It ain't the fall that kills you. It's the rocks at the bottom.
Ugh.
See, that's what being evil your whole life gets you. If you were a hero, you would have survived.
Yeah, if you were a llama and tied to a log and all that. It's a case of point. And if you have an eagle to save you.
Yeah, eagles are a pretty good trick to have up your sleeve.
It was an epic shot.
Hallelujah. Ah, the lightning. Ah, it's so great. Love how you can make an eagle look like she's smiling. That's just awesome.
Okay. We're about to get the cute moment now.
Yep. You're saying it, but you still don't have the accent.
It's like, yeah, just go for it, right? Yeah. He's not even mad about it.
Game respects game.
Yeah. I do love that. I was like, Bianca, before anything else happens,
It's such a good
marry me. Like,
such a
just
good
forget
line.
the speech. Just go for it, right? Like, nope, I'm not gonna delay it.
I'm gonna say this right here. Fuck Katzenberg. And I'll tell you why in a moment.
And they just forget about Wilbur.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of funny.
Into that Tarzan episode, like, hello, Tarzan Jane.
Oh boy. Ouch.
They've imprinted on you. Why would they bite you?
I don't think maybe they didn't imprint on him. They're like, you are not the mama.
How would they know? They were just born.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna... It's a cartoon.
Okay.
I think they're smart enough to figure that out.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Say why specifically.
So here's the thing. When I watched the movie and that was the ending, I was like, oh, fuck you. This is the best movie ever? Ah, fucking hell, man. And the thing is, the reason why? That poor woman thought her boy was dead. We needed at least a...
Hey, look, Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise worked on this.
Yeah? We really needed a moment. We really needed a moment where just no dialogue, where he just runs into his mother's fucking arms. And then you can use the Wilbur scene as like a post-credits tag to lighten the mood even more from that heartfelt reunion. Cause like, god damn it, that poor woman thought her boy was dead, and we don't know if he made it home after that. God damn it!
The animals still in McLeach's face. Like, can we break them out?
Well, that much I'm aware that they
Kevin Lima on the character design and Chris Buck.
Yeah, both the Tarzan guys.
Wow.
Yep, John Candy.
Yes.
Cody was Adam Ryan.
Bernard Fox was also the doctor. Oh, that makes sense, because Bernard Fox was very famous for playing Dr. Bombay in Bewitched.
Right.
I probably should have realized it sooner. Yeah.
And Chris
he was
Sanders.
the chairman, but I guess he was also
Sanders.
the doctor. Yeah.
I've definitely seen Chris Sanders like footprint on Joanna with those legs that are very thick toward the end.
Calling Dr. Bombay, big emergency, come right away.
Okay, but like, yeah, no, we really needed a heartfelt reunion with the boy and his mother, cause like, God, that's on the same level as like getting complaints, like the network getting complaints and angry letters from people watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like, why didn't they go back for Misfit Toys?
I mean, come on,
Pixar.
we saw
Thomas Hahn, Peter Nye, Michael A. Shantis, and Rick Ace. Nice.
I mean, come on, when Penny was rescued, she
sent a letter.
We saw her adopted.
We saw her adopted. Yeah, she sent a goodwill letter to the Rescue Aid Society as a thanks for their help, and she was adopted. It's like, God, man. Casting by Mary V. Buck, CSA, and Susan Edelman, CSA. All right. One of you guys fumbled the bag on casting Cody, but you still did a great job with everyone else. Percival McLeach is great fun.
Original score recorded and mixed at Warner Brothers Studios facility. Interesting.
That makes sense. Orchestrated and conducted by Bruce Broughton, who was the guy responsible for the Tiny Toon Adventures. So it would make sense for it to be recorded at Warner Brothers.
And I just find it interesting whenever these studios that are always at odds with each other just.
It's not so much.
Funny.
It's not so much about hating each other's guts. It's about additional production services provided at Disney MGM Studios theme park,
and
Lake Buena Vista,
special thank
Florida.
you from San Diego Zoo. Yeah,
they probably got to see a lot of the animals there.
Yeah, because you can't go in Australia consistently.
Yeah.
Let's go. Even nowadays.
Let's go for like 3 days. He was also he was also a big fan of Disney. It was Scoring This or Home Alone, says Scribe, and honestly, well, good for him. And he did a great job with the score.
Yeah, and what we got with Home Alone was pretty good too. So.
I mean, John Williams is really good. Yeah. So that was The Rescuers Down Under. I still hate that ending, but God, what an epic film.
Yeah, the ending, I don't hate it, but it just feels so short.
Yeah, that's another thing I was also disappointed
Even by Disney
by.
Standards, it feels so short.
That is true. Like, what did we get? Like, what did we get for the runtime? An hour 17? Usually these movies push like an hour. Okay, no, like even The Little Mermaid's like an hour 15 with credits, but like still, it's pretty short. Frozen was just as long, actually, and I was like, wow, that's it? That's the end of the movie?
Yeah, and...
Yeah.
Kristoff kind of goes through the same subplot, but we saw a little more glimpse into his insecurities, and I feel like they did kind of do with Bernard, but if this could have been the main thing of the movie, because aren't these two supposed to be the main characters?
Yeah, and I'm really...
It wasn't the main thing. It felt like a B-plot.
Yeah, I agree with you, Squad, about it making it feel like a breathtaking adventure, but at the same time, We really needed that resolution. I'm tearing up. The mother thought her son was fucking dead. And that's...
I mean,
God.
it feels like a TV episode just 70 minutes long. You know what I mean?
I really am getting choked up about this.
Oh god. Yeah. We don't see much of the mom to begin with.
That's not the point.
Come on.
That's not the point. They established her.
She thought her boy was dead. Oh god. Dude, are you okay?
I'm fine. It's just such a god. And you know it was Katzenberg. Katzenberg was like this with Aladdin. It's like, guys, the movie's over. They flew off into the sunset. Just end it there. And that's why we got the genie laughing as the moon instead of revealing that the narrator at the beginning was the genie, which was always the case, obviously.
Still.
But like,
at least worked for Aladdin because the whole magic carpet thing.
At least with Aladdin, there wasn't like an emotional reconciliation that needed to happen because someone else thought someone else was dead. We already had that emotional reconciliation before Genie's group hug. That was it.
Yeah, everything was tied up in Aladdin, and this wasn't tied up.
It wasn't tied up. And the credits, oh my god, you know what they could have done with the credits, even though most, like, films weren't doing this, even Disney films weren't doing this. They could have had, like, the images... Actually, no, because the Mickey's A Christmas Carol was, like, relatively new around this time as well. And they did the opening credits with pictures. Why couldn't they do the closing credits with pictures showing us, oh, the animals all escaped and now they're on the Outback and they started the RC...
You know what?
And they started the RCA Australian division. Why not?
And don't forget they did that with Black Cauldron.
They did do the post-credits images, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did.
Where they went back to the house and all that.
It's like, at the very least, that's the bare minimum that you could do.
Yeah. It's got epic shots, great animation, but
the story...
like, the main characters were kind of pushed to be secondary characters in this. Bianca doesn't even do much in this movie.
There's only one Disney property where forgetting about your story is a good thing, and it's Fantasia. This is not Fantasia. These are characters that we've been with before, and this is like, and this is a story we'd want to see. It's like, oh, let's have them go on the most epic adventure of their lives. And then like, with Fantasia, though, it's abstract. It's an art house film, basically. You're allowed to be abstract. You're allowed to forget any semblance of story and just let the music guide you. It's like... So it's like, I don't know.
I'm sorry, like, this just makes me more afraid to watch Star Wars with DF. I never liked Star Wars to begin with. Forget about the original. Forget about the prequels. Forget about the new ones. I just don't like it. Oh, boy.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to leave it. My opinions on this film actually haven't changed much. I'm gonna go watch fucking Iron Giant more often than this, honestly. Because Iron Giant is an underrated classic and epic and features original characters. How often do you get to see a film like that? This movie, it's a sequel, and it doesn't do much with its main characters, and its emotional resolutions are squat. It's there to look pretty. It's there to stand there and look epic, and that's it. Yeah. McLeach was a highlight, honestly. But that lack of an emotional...
he was a highlight.
That lack of an emotional resolution...
And I'll always... I'll always love the Joanna and Egg scene.
Also, I want to point out a little trivia that I learned from Mr. Doug Unfunny Walker, the nostalgia critic, was evidently this movie, in theaters, it opened with Mickey's The Prince and the Pauper, which is a 20-minute short, like Olaf's Frozen Adventure. But unlike Olaf's Frozen Adventure, apparently there was like a 15-minute intermission. They had like a whole little timer, a custom like Mickey Mouse timer thing animated for like, there's 15 minutes left until Rescuers Down Under. And then it's like, so, that's the thing. That's probably what Olaf's Frozen Adventure needed. It needed like, let's have 15 minutes where the audience can walk out of the theater and then come back, you know? My brother... That's
also kind of hard to do, and I will say as someone who's worked in a movie theater, you have to make sure that they're the same people go in the right theater.
That's true. 20 minutes short, yes, the Mickey's Prince and the Pauper, yeah. Yeah, that was... The thing is, like, you could do that for special events. Like my brother and mother and I went to like the 3D showings of Toy Story and Toy Story 2 before Toy Story 3 was coming out. It was a whole double feature. There was an intermission, but that was a whole event. You know, it was like.
Yeah. I know we once had when Incredibles 2 first came out. The very first time it came out was a double feature with Incredibles, and
That
people
makes
were
sense.
wondering why is the ticket so expensive? Like, well, technically it's two movies.
watching
Oh,
two
well, we
movies.
just want to watch the. Like, oh, we just want to watch the second one. Like, well, this is an early release, and it's specifically with the first movie.
It's an
I've
event.
explained it to them.
When you go to an event, you gotta know that it's an event. You gotta read all the
Like, well,
stipulations
can we just-
before you start doing this
Just come
shit.
back later. Like, sure you can, but you'd still be paying for both movies.
Waste of a ticket.
Yeah.
Heck, you
Or
could
you
go.
come back tomorrow. How about that?
You could do that.
Yeah. Think a lot of people show up to that, though.
But that's gonna be it, honestly. Actually, wait. No, it isn't. I just remembered something.
What? Oh.
What happened to the Little Mermaid?
I don't know. What happened to it?
It feels like the Disney Renaissance had a hiccup. A movie with a lack of emotional resolution, and a movie with a lack of Howard Ashman musical numbers. We gotta be able to fix this somehow.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh,
I think?
God.
I think the way we can fix this is with a Howard Ashman double feature. Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast back to back next week, everybody. The Howard Ashman, the beginning of the Disney Renaissance, the musicals, and everything that brought the Disney back into their stride, with a doubleheader from the late, great Howard Ashman and the still living greatest composer of all time, Alan Menken. Sorry, John Williams, you're great, but Alan Menken is really good.
Alan Bacon's got 8 Oscars on you. No other composer can claim that.
That is absolutely true. So thank you all so much for joining us on this relatively epic adventure with a very fun villain. And if you're viewing this after the fact, thanks for watching. And until next time, remember to take care, stay safe, and have a magical day. Good night, everybody!
Good day!